Hi, the election results are finally in after a bit of a stressful period, and I'm here to clarify any confusion or uncertainty you might still have about the results. It's just been announced Joe Biden has won the election. He's the least popular candidate in U.S. history, yet has somehow received the most amount of popular vote in U.S. history. Joe Biden will definitely be your next president of the United States. Unless something happens with the lawsuits that the Trump campaign has already filed in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Nevada, and Georgia alleging fraudulent vote counting. If there was fraud in the vote count and it's discovered in the recount, then if President Trump proves to have the deciding number of votes in truth, then he'll be awarded with the election win. However, if there was fraud in voting in these states and a recount is ordered, but the fraud was in illegal ballots being dropped off and not in the actual vote count, then a recount will result in the same fraudulent vote count, and Joe Biden will be your next president. But the Trump campaign's lawsuits are unlikely to be successful because providing provable factual evidence of voting fraud would be very difficult. So recounts might not even be granted in some states.
Hey, Tim Frisch with A Frisch Perspective here. That was JP Sears clearing up the election results for us with his interesting video there. So for those of you who don't know, JP Sears does a lot of satirical videos, so in some ways that video is just making fun, but it is also bringing out truths, which I do want to talk about in this video, and that has to do with the election results and how confusing it is right now for a lot of people. Before I get into this topic, make sure that you like this video and subscribe for more Christian nerdy content. Now, you may have noticed that I am yet again wearing another baseball team hat, and this is the Texas Rangers. And this is thanks to a couple of my viewers, Leslie and Steve Harris, who sent me this wonderful hat. And I am collecting all the different baseball team hats from my viewers. So if you would like to send me a hat of your favorite baseball team, in return I will send you a free copy of my book, God Matters. You can write to me at afrischperspective@gmail.com and we will work out the details. These are the team hats that I've collected so far, and I'm looking to collect all of the Major League Baseball teams. And this is just a way for me to connect with people in my audience from all around the country. So this video is actually about election results, but I'm talking about baseball hats. Actually, the two tie in together. I was thinking about this. That something I've noticed is that when people are watching a sport, whether it's baseball or some other sport, a lot of times there will be a call that is made by a referee or an umpire, and people will dispute that call if it's a close play. And what I've noticed is that depending on what team you're rooting for, it will impact the way you see the call that is made. And so an umpire might make a call on a play, and from all one team's perspective, it's very clear that he made the wrong call, and from another team's perspective, it's very clear that he made the right call. Now, you may see where I'm going with this when it comes to the election, and the point that I'm really making is that we are all impacted by our bias in which team that we're on. So if you are strongly on Team Trump, you're going to tend to see the results a certain way. If you're on Team Biden, you're going to look at the results very differently. What I'm noticing is that obviously those who've supported Biden look at the election results and they say it's very clear Biden has won. But those who are on Trump's side say no, it's not clear, and the evidence is not showing that Biden actually won. So if you look at the Associated Press here, the official results that they have are that Joe Biden has 290 electoral votes, Donald Trump has 214. Some people have pointed out, though, that if you look on Real Clear Politics, their website, it's a little different picture. Biden is at 259 electoral votes and Trump at 214. Of note is that Pennsylvania has not been called on Real Clear Politics. Now, some people have said, like Rudy Giuliani, that Real Clear Politics took PA away from Biden and made it a toss-up. He is saying that Real Clear Politics changed it. Actually, Tom Bevan said this is false. We never called Pennsylvania and nothing has changed. So he, representing Real Clear Politics, said that they actually haven't changed the Pennsylvania results. They never called it for Pennsylvania. The point I'm making is we actually have two different results here according to these two websites, the Associated Press and Real Clear Politics. So I'm going to look a little bit here at how those on Trump's side look at the situation. Steve Cortez, an advisor for the Trump campaign, says the statistical case against Biden is this: 1, turnout; 2, outperformance versus Obama; 3, Biden-only ballots; and 4, absence of mail-in vote vetting. And then Jenna Ellis, who's legal counsel for President Trump, and she's also an attorney for John MacArthur in his situation, she says Team Trump filed lawsuit in Pennsylvania. Key points: many mail-in ballots without review by political parties. Dem majority counties provided no meaningful access or actual opportunity to review mail-in ballots. Dem-heavy counties violated mandates of election code. So if you're looking at the side that they're giving and the points that they're making, it seems that they're making a case for really doubting the election results. And of course, that's what President Trump is saying, that he's saying that the election is essentially being taken away from him and it's not fair. Now, those on Biden's side have a very different way of looking at the evidence. My opinion on this is it really does show a lot of bias on both sides. If you are more in favor of Trump, you're more likely to look at the information and say, yeah, it really points toward an election that is not fair. If you're on Biden's side, you're more likely to say that, no, actually these results are accurate and Biden has clearly won. Now, of course, the Democrats 4 years ago were really concerned about whether the election was really fair between Trump and Hillary Clinton and if there was election interference. So it just shows you the bias that we as humans have. But when I look at all of this, my overall opinion on it is that while Trump might have a case for pointing out voter fraud and there might be things that are found out, and they really should examine those things, I don't know really that it would be enough to overturn the results. And if by some chance the results were actually overturned, I'm really worried or concerned about how that would actually impact our country. So many people in our country believe that Joe Biden has won the election. That is their mindset. So if that was overturned, there would just be great upheaval. So obviously we need to be praying about all of this. It's something we need to leave in God's hands. I don't really think that the evidence I'm seeing is clear enough to necessarily overturn the election results. You may disagree with that, but again, we have to look at our own biases. I'm not looking so much for Trump supporters who are saying it's really clear evidence. I'm actually waiting to see if there are Biden supporters who say, yeah, the evidence is really clear and we need to re-examine the election results. It gets back to sports and how we look at judgment calls when they're really close, and we are all affected by our bias. Anyway, I just wanted to share some of this information with you, some of my thoughts, because I know it's on a lot of people's hearts and minds right now, and there's so much division. There already has been in our country, but this election isn't helping. And so again, I get us back to what do we really need? It's not so much a political thing that we need. We need to be praying. It's a spiritual thing that we need, and we need God to intervene in our country and in our own lives. So let's be praying for that regardless of how all of this continues to pan out. I'd love to hear what you think about all of this in the comments below, but just make sure you keep those comments positive and helpful to discussion. But thank you as always for listening to what I have to say from A Frisch Perspective.